Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. So as you know by the title of today's video, I will be talking about how to retain length. Um, if you're one of those people who their hair grows really fast, you're like constantly complaining like, oh, I need to book my appointment with my girl who like does my hair and because I need to cut the ends because it just grows so fast. You're lucky. I am not one of those people. My hair takes not a long time to grow, but it takes some time to grow. So um, the hair that does grow, I'm like, I want to keep it. I want to make sure it doesn't break. I want to make sure that there's less split ends, those fairy knots, like anything to like make sure that it's healthy and that it's not going to break off and that it's not damaged. Because who cares if your hair is growing quickly from your root? If you're not able to maintain the rest of the length, then it like it doesn't do anything for you. So um, I'll be sharing what I do to retain my length. This is just from my experience, what I find to work for me, um, and I thought I should share. So took some notes. So the first thing I would say is be gentle when you detangle. I know it's so tempting to just yank out your hair or yank out those curls. Obviously, caveat, this is about curly hair. I'm sure maybe these tips apply to other types of hair, but like I'm talking about my hair and my experience. So yeah. Um, Anyways, but be gentle when you detangle. Remember, we're always detangling in the shower. We're detangling with a lot of product in our hair, either a conditioner or a mask or whatever. Starting from the ends, working our way to the roots, splitting your hair into sections if that's better. Personally, I do. I split my hair into 4 sections. I work section by section. Um, Back in the day when I was a kid or even when I was in my teenage stage, I would literally detangle all at once. Not going back to those stages because obviously when your hair is wet, when it's under the shower with all that steam and stuff, your your um, your scalp is more sensitive, your pores are open, so being a little bit more tough or being gentle with your hair when your hair is in that fragile state is like a no-go, not good. So just be gentle, be patient, take your time, do it. But yeah, like I feel like that's at that point or when your hair is in that stage, that's when you can lose the most amount of hair. Because when you're looking at your brush or when you're looking at what's on your shower floor and you're like, wow, um, how did this happen? Um, that's probably where you're losing your length. Obviously, there's strands that need to leave that like naturally shed. And to be honest, every time I'm doing my shower routine, my hair routine, I do lose quite a bunch of hair. For me, it's not alarming because I have a lot of it, so I'm just like, it's fine. But I also understand that losing hair is part of the whole process of how your scalp is like maintaining itself, you're shedding that old hair. So I'm not super alarmed, but if you're losing hair because you're literally not being gentle enough, or when the hair is coming out, you see that it's still in that knotted state, then I don't think it's part of the natural process. It's part of the care. So that's the first tip. Second tip, deep condition. I know it's a pain. I know it can be a pain. Doesn't have to take super long. Work it into your schedule however way you want to. But deep conditioning and making sure that your hair is not dry is super important, especially if you live in places that are not always tropical and not always warm throughout the year. Deep conditioning, because your hair gets so dry and it's exposed to so many elements, it needs it. Like I didn't really care too much about deep conditioning before, and now I'm like I can tell. Anytime that I would get my hair done and they would apply a mask, they would be like, wow, your hair really sucks it all in like very quickly, and it's because it's dry. And obviously if your hair is dry, if it's brittle, it's more prone to break off, it's more prone to be damaged. So deep conditioning, one of the ways that I like to get it in is sometimes I'll just wash my hair in the sink and like shampoo it like that, apply it in the deep conditioning mask, let it sit. And that way, like, because I don't like to like constantly be in and out of the shower, like especially in the winter time, my body just gets so nice and warm once I'm out of the shower and I just want to relax. So the thought of having to go back in kills me. So this is one of the ways that I avoid having to go back in, is that if I apply the deep conditioning mask at that time when I'm just under the sink, then I'm just only going into the shower once to wash it out and continue on from there. So there's ways to make it happen. I get that it's annoying, but there's ways, and your hair will thank you for it. You'll notice a big difference. Next tip is to trim your hair. I talk about this in my other videos. It sucks, but it's necessary. It's necessary to get rid of all those old strands, the strands that are not looking healthy anymore, that are not doing much, because the quicker you can cut those strands off, the healthier the rest of your ends will be, and it'll just keep growing. But if your hair is growing, but the ends are not healthy, they're breaking off, there's a lot of split ends, then not only will it be harder to grow that length because those ends are just constantly breaking, but also it doesn't look as clean, regardless if your hair is in a curly state, if it's in a more relaxed state with straightened, whatever the case may be, in braids. The ends never lie. The ends you can tell. So trimming it doesn't have to be often, doesn't have to be a lot. Like, obviously hate cutting a lot. I hate looking on the floor to see how much is cut, even though I know it's not a lot. Like, I get it. But it's one of the ways to help retain length. And then be mindful of your scalp. Listen to your scalp, try to understand, is it dryness, is it flakiness, is it dandruff? Because ultimately your hair grows out of your scalp, it's the root. So if the root is not healthy, then it can affect the rest of your hair. Might be a controversial opinion, a hot take. I don't necessarily think that your scalp needs to be like 10 out of 10 in great condition for your hair to grow. Because personally, my scalp is not the best. It's dry, it has like weird patches where it's more flaky, and I've had issues with my scalp for the last couple of years. My hair does continue to grow, so I don't think that those two are necessarily correlated, or no, I should say I don't think that those two are necessarily one, like a cause and effect of each other. I would say it's loosely correlated though. And keeping your scalp in great shape, I think, is just a good thing to do. And the better your scalp is, the better your hair will be, I think. And so even though my scalp is not in the best shape, if it was in better shape, then I think it would help grow my hair and retain my length better. So all of that to say that I think scalp health is important, and it plays a very important role. Whether it necessarily affects your hair growth depends on each person, but I think it overall overwhelmingly affects your hair. So keeping it healthy, maintaining it, being mindful of it, not just focusing on deep conditioning for the rest of your hair, but products that are meant to address your scalp, is important. Or not even products, natural things that you can do, because I'm not into buying everything that says it's going to do X, Y, and Z, but finding solutions or things that work for you, I think, is important. And then the last tip, which is kind of connected to the first tip, about being gentle when you detangle, is being mindful about what type of comb you use. And this is, again, my personal experience. I love the Denman brush. I use it in my wash and go. It helps with like locking in my curl pattern, the texture, love it. But I noticed that in times when I would use that to detangle in the shower, it was not good. I found that I would lose a lot of hair unnecessarily. It was a bit too tough. I didn't like it. And so I reverted back to my wide tooth comb. Love my wide tooth comb. And so just being mindful about the types of brushes, combs that you're using. Do you feel like it's helping you detangle? Do you feel like it's like not, like, like, is it creating more tension, more frizz? Just like really assessing that. To be honest, I've only used a wide tooth comb to detangle. I know that there's other products out there like Tangle Teaser and things like that. I've never tried it. I've heard great things about it, but with the Denman brush that I have tried, I've noticed that I didn't like it. I didn't like how it was working to detangle. I didn't like any part of that. And I do also notice when I do my wash and go, even though when I'm applying my products in, my hair is 100% detangled, um, and like ready to be in the next step of the process, the Denman brush still finds a way to um, create a little bit of knots or a little bit of tension, and I do lose hair when I'm applying my wash and go products. So I think that there's something to be said about using that to detangle, and it's not a lot, and it's not alarming when I'm using it for when I'm applying my products, but it's just something that I noticed, and I was like, I don't understand why I'm still losing hair when I detangled in the shower. My hair is like in the best shape it's gonna be for this process, and I'm still losing hair. I would have thought that I would have lost that hair when I was detangling in the shower, or when I was running my fingers through it when I was applying conditioner, you know. So that's a bit of a tangent, but I guess what I'm just trying to say is, what type of comb are you using? Do you think it's being helpful or hurting? And then maybe seeing if a different one is better. Because it has to do its job of detangling, but is it being gentle enough? Is it unnecessarily yanking out hairs that don't need to be yanked out? Um, so yeah, um, those were my tips. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you do, what works for you. Um, if you want me to talk about anything else in particular or specifically, I will do so. But in the meantime, have a great time, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.